everyone, this is Chris. Thank you for joining me. In today's video, I would like to share with you another project, which is making some coasters. And we're going to do this with air dry clay. You can adapt this also to Fimo clay or this kind of baking clays as well. It's just another way to get used to your clays because air dry clay are much cheaper. So for those of you who can't really afford more expensive clays or just want to practice, I think it's a really nice way, because if you make a mistake, it's not that big of a deal because it's just air dry clay, and you can have like a pound for just under $2. So it's really easy to do. So I already made my coasters, so I took a cup and to measure the size of it, and I couldn't find my cookie cutter. I just did afterwards, but it was still in one of my boxes that I couldn't find. So what I did is that I used a plastic cup like this one that I usually use for my brushes, but I don't recommend this because it's too flimsy, even though it's quite hard. But because it's flexible like this, it doesn't make perfect circles. So if you want to make a nice one, this is it's not completely round, as you can see here, for example, on this side. I would recommend when you do this using something that is really sturdy, that you're not going to be able to bend or anything. That would be better. So I just chose my size. You can make them smaller if you want. And I also use some stamps. So if you want to check my previous video, and I will put a link on the upper right corner over there, I will show you how I just stamped my clays. It's very easy. Use stamps, you stamp them. And I would recommend really pressing hard if you want to have good details in your clay. Really hard. Otherwise, it's not going to be that precise, and you won't have so many details. So every one of them is a little different. I decided to make 6 coasters, and they're all different, and I've tried different paints like last time, but this time I've tried to use also watercolor paint. And honestly, watercolor paint is absolutely great. You just need to wait and put some more if you want to. This one was a bit too dull, this flower, so I decided just to add a little bit more of Vitri from PBO, because this is a translucent paint and I love it. It's a solvent paint, which means that usually what I do when I want to clean my brushes is that I use acetone with this because it works pretty well. So that's one of the examples. I did the background just with watercolors, and I did a mix of yellow and a little bit of orange. And I hope you'll be able to see it, but I started to glaze it, to put a little varnish on it, but only on one side. Yes, here you can see it. So on this side you can see the varnish. I didn't put it yet on the flower because it's not dry, but on the other side, on the right part of my coaster, I didn't paint it yet. It's just like it is, matte. So you can do both, and if you're using watercolors, I would absolutely recommend using a sealer, a varnish, whether it's matte or glossy, but use one, because you know coasters, you're going to put a glass on it, it might stain or it might spill over, or if you're putting a very cold glass with ice in it, you're going to have water on the outside of your glass, and it's going to fall on your coaster, and if it's watercolor, it's going to reactivate and it's going to smear away. So I really consider protecting it with a good, at least I would say maybe 3 to 4 coats of varnish, just to make sure everything is sealed. Go into all your crevices and that will be fine. And also don't forget the edges. So one good thing about this air dry clay is that it's also called cold porcelain. It's absolutely the same. Ooh, I've got paint on my sandpaper. Let me take this away. I'm working on a very small table and I've got stuff everywhere. Let me clean my hands. There you go. So what you can do after it's completely dry, of course, and if you don't like your edges because they're not straight, and my clay did bend a little over, so then when it's a bit hard, what I did is I put some books on it to make them completely flat. Otherwise they shrink a little bit, but it's not big of a deal because it's still flat. It's not going to do anything to my cup. It's not going to fall on the edge anyway. So once it's dry, use your sandpaper, and I'm using one that is not too big. It's 180, this one. So just open it up, and you can this way make your edges smoother. And of course, also when it's not perfectly rounded like here, I can go over a few times. But do you see my hand here? I don't do this because otherwise I'm going to have a straight line. I follow the shape of my coaster. Okay, and then you can touch it, and if you're not pleased, go a little bit over again. And it's going to help little by little to first take away all these ragged edges. So it's going to look smooth, it's going to be nice to the touch. That's something important. And then you'll be able to go on. So this one is not perfect. I think I'm going to redo it again with the same stamps. I don't mind. Or I can leave it as is, just as a souvenir. It's going to be for myself. It's not big of a deal. But if you want to sell them, I would recommend using really good materials for this. Okay, so I'm not going to show you this. And also on the back, you can do this as well. I'm not going to do it because it's going to make a horrible noise, but put it flat and do the same thing. Sand it down a little bit to make sure that the back of it is perfect and smooth. So, and also what I would do also, like I did for Christmas, I did coasters for Christmas. I would put a piece of foam or felt on the back of it, just slightly smaller than your coaster, because, and I would also put it black or in a very dark color, because this part might be stained or is going to have some dust. So if it's already dark, you're not going to see much. Just take the dust away. And if it's foam, you can even use a rag, something that is a bit humid, and take all the dust away. It's going to be fine. If you use a light color underneath, well, you'll have to change it very often because it's going to get dirty fairly quickly. And also it's going to protect your table, whether it's wood or, for example, it's not that is really harsh, but I like to protect things. So here what I've done, I've colored the background with watercolors, and you can use very cheap ones for this. Don't use professional watercolor for that. And for this one, I did it also, but in a much darker color, much lighter color. I'm gonna do my leaf really dark, but much darker anyway. So I wanted a big contrast. And I've done this one. I hope you'll be able to pick it up. It's not that easy, but if you compare the white, I've done it a slightly blue, and it's not perfectly done, but that's the look I wanted to have. Something, you know, kind of cool, the beach. It's really still sunny where I live, so I'm still in the summer mood, and that's what I wanted to reflect in my coasters. So, what you can do for this one, and I might do this one maybe again a little bit orange, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. So these, I prepared a little bit of paint, and I'm just going to go there very quickly to show that because this is a little bit porous. If your clay is not porous, watercolors are not going to work. If you're working on polymer clay like Fimo, it's not going to work on it. I don't think it's not going to stay, because once it's baked, it's going to be a non-porous surface. So you'll have to use other kinds of paint. But here, even though it's dry, it's still very porous. So I can absolutely use watercolor here. And you can make it as dark or as light as you wish. Use all the colors you want. I don't want something too dark. I may add a little yellow after, because it's just watercolor, so I can come back and add more or change it if I want. It's really watery. It's a wash. That's what you say in watercolor painting. It's a wash. A lot of water and then just a little bit of paint. Let me put it here. And I'm using a big brush because I've got wide open spaces here. I'll go with the smaller brush to the inside of it. And it dries fairly quickly because even though I'm putting a lot of water, it's sinking in very quickly. And I don't really like these harsh lines. Got my red here. I try to take away all these harsh lines. It's sinking so much and so quickly that you do have these little lines here and there. So that's why sometimes I like to go back over with another color just to kind of hide these harsh lines. And also, I'm not completely crazy about this orange. I usually prefer to make my own colors with when I watercolor. And of course, you can use acrylic paint. And as I'm going to show you, you can use Vitri because that's absolutely wonderful. Now I'm using a little bit of yellow. It already dried on me since this morning. And I'm just going to add over. I'm going to glaze this orange with a little bit of yellow. And I like it because it's absolutely not perfect. The less perfect you are, I would say almost it's better because it looks a bit more organic. And I did buy a pastel machine because I wanted every one of my coasters having the same thickness. And I bought one at my local, you know, it was not a craft store actually because they didn't have any, but in a home decor store, and they had one for 10 bucks. I said, I wonder if it's going to be good. So I bought it, and well, I have to bring it back because $10, yeah, maybe for making pasta, it's just great. But actually, when I put my my paste in it, my dough, the rollers were not staying in place. I try to put it on a certain number to have every single one of my coasters the same thickness, but the rollers were going this way, you know, going a little bit wider and less wide. So my coasters were not all perfectly done the same way. Even on one coaster, it was like making waves. So it's maybe good for pasta because nobody is really going to notice it. But when you make coasters, or if you want to make a nice piece of jewelry, I do believe that you need something that maybe not too expensive. And I know they can be very expensive, but not 10 bucks. At least for me, it didn't work at all. So I think I kind of like this color. I'm going to try to have different colors every time. And this is not right now the definite color because it needs to dry completely. And usually watercolor tends to like not when it dries. It loses about 2 to 3 tones depending on your brand. So you've got to keep that in mind as well. Need to come a little closer here. But I like this effect that it's not all perfect. It's really a watery color, at least for the outside. And now for the inside, I'm going to use, what am I going to use? I'm going to use some yellow for this piece here. And again, I'm using Vitri because it's a, like I said, it's a translucent color, and I like that because it gives a lot of dimension. And if you overlap your colors, you're still going to be able to see through the colors that was underneath. So if you're putting first a dark color and then a lighter color on top, you will be able to see kind of both of the colors, which I like. This is how I made this actually. I'm going to zoom in. So I hope you'll be able to see the different colors I use for the leaf of the fruit here. You can see a little bit of brown, you can see a darker green and a lighter green. So that's what you can do with these paints. You cannot do that with acrylic because it's so opaque, even though you've got less opaque, depending on the brands. Some of them are less opaque than others. They will never be that translucent. And actually, I've got a white border that I will fill in with the same orangey color that I did before. So for now, I'm going to leave this piece here that I'm going to call a lemon because it could be a lot of things. And I'll come back and I'll darken up a little bit, or I don't know, I'm going to make a different color on the outside. This one could be a watermelon, I would think. So wait a second, I'm going to use, I don't have an orange. Do I have a orange because I need to really refill everything. I'm not sure. So first I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in here. It can be an exotic fruit, it can be an orange, I'm not sure yet. Just, can you see this? I'm maybe far away. I tend to be a little too close, but I want you to see so well what I'm doing, but now I was too far away. And you know, they can be tropical fruits, so if they don't look like your normal fruits, it's not a big deal. If you want to make a fruit blue, why not? I mean, it's your coasters, do what you want with them. I think I like it this way as well. It looks really nice. And I'm going to go back in with a little bit of red. I really need to buy some more. Look at these. After a few months and being also in a container overseas, it turned out to be really bad. But I was lucky, it didn't spill off. So now I'm just adding a little bit before it dries, and it's already starting to dry. I'll have to go back over with my yellow. I'm going to try to put both in here. Because it's a solvent, it also evaporates very quickly. Yes, that's what I want. Yeah, absolutely what I want now. Still going to go a little closer. A little bit, I'm working directly from the cap. So I'm not too much contaminating my colors here. Since I don't have an orangey color like this, I'm just making it by myself. You don't, if you're a good watercolor or you are used to use paint, and even if you're a beginner, don't be afraid of mixing your own colors. You don't need to buy every single color that is out there, because there's a lot of them that you'll never hardly ever use, because we tend to always use the same colors. You'll see that. So try and learn to make your own, because it's funny. Sometimes it can be annoying when you want to do it again and you can't really remember how much you put or what kind of blue you used, what kind of red, but you're going to learn a lot this way. I think it's really nice. It's exactly the color I wanted. I'm going to leave this dry a little bit. I need a little bit of this, a little bit more. And here I've got a cup with acetone. And I don't put too much because it evaporates very quickly. I just put a bit here to clean my brush. Don't use expensive brushes in acetone, certainly not, because it's going to ruin them. But I need to finish this part here. It's really not perfect. So I'm trying to make it nicer. And the white border around, I think I'll just take it away. Depending on the angle you're looking at it, you can see this white border. So, you know, while I'm working on one fruit, I still have time to work on another. This one is going to be more reddish everywhere. It's not a real red that I have, but I'll do it with this one anyway. So I'm going to paint everywhere in this color. I'm not putting too much, and I'm probably going to put a little bit still of yellow in here, and I'm going to go on the sides to have maybe more volume this time. And I'm still going to go, so I'm shaking it up to work directly from, I'm sorry, I was totally out of focus, out of camera, and I'm going to use a little bit of this yellow, little bit, just to lighten it up a little bit because it's really dark. And I will go afterwards inside these crevices with a very dark color, or maybe even with a Sharpie when it's completely dry, to make the little seeds in my watermelon. I think it's going to be really important. to make it look this time a little bit. It's not the color at all that I wanted. I think I put too much yellow. I'm gonna have to put a little bit more red, but I don't have a really good red. I think my paints are going not bad, but I should buy a little bit more. I'm gonna darken it up, so I'm gonna put a little bit more here. Yeah, it's really nice. I love painting even miniature like this because it's a small piece of it. And once it's dry, I'm just going to put a little bit of green on the outside, leave one spot white as well. But how shiny is this? I mean, it really looks more like a strawberry actually than anything else. And for this one, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to make it green. And I'm going to use this one. If you want to know the numbers or the name of the colors I use, just let me know in the comments below. I think this green is going to be lovely. Yes, it's exactly the kind of lime green that I was looking for. And I'm going into the crevices to make it a little darker. Oh yes, I love this green. It's really calming. I know if you want to speed up this video, you can. But I just like taking my time a little bit more. I usually go too fast. I want to make it really nice. And other things I want to show you before, because I need to let it dry a little bit, is also do my edges. So if you have a gold marker, you can use a marker. I can't find mine again. I don't know where they are, somewhere in a box. Or I'm going to use these paints. I've got different golds here, and I think I'm just going to go for this one, or maybe a lighter gold. I don't know. Which one do you think is best? I've got this really nice gold here, and I've got this one there. I don't know. This one is more orangey. I think I'm going to go for the first one. It looks richer. I don't know, I like the colors better. And again, I'm going to work from the lid. And I'm going to use a bigger brush here. I'm going to use this one. So this is just acrylic paint. And when you're happy with everything and you like your signs, I'm not going to go over it all because I still want to sand it down a little bit. But when you're happy with it, just use your paintbrush, something flat. And I'm going to turn it off this way, and I'm just going to put my paint on one side here, the part that is flat, and I'm just going to go like this. But you really need to sand it out perfectly. That's the best way. Don't do it this way, because if you go this way, your paintbrush is going to go over on the top, and it won't look nice. So I usually, when I do the sides of something, that's the way I do it. And I think it's gonna finish, I'm doing it gold, but if you want to do it another color, if you want to do it green, or I don't know, maybe black, why not? But I think this color looks nice. There's a little bit of, it's a very metallic color, and it looks a bit more precious, and I just like the color gold actually. I don't see myself putting any black on here. It would be too harsh with my colors. So there you go. And of course, every one of them is going to be different. You can use other colors. I've got another one here that I'm sure is going to be nice. And I'll show you pictures at the end of the videos as soon as I'm finished, or maybe in the next video to show you how it all went, and different ideas you can have to make your coasters different. You can make also the same, use the same stamp if you don't have a lot for all your coasters, or make 2 by 2. That's another idea. But that's how you do it. I'm going to continue using a little bit of, do I have black here? Okay, so I've already done a little part here, but I'm going to do a bit more on this side, and I'm just using acrylic paint. And I'm just trying to make one very, very small. And I'm trying to use and find the smallest brush. Oh, we need to use other glasses, people. I think I'm gonna stop here, and I'll put more green, but I guess I'll put a darker green after the my black line here. I hope this one is dry, and I will put some green also. I think I'm going to use the same green again. The same green that I have here. And I'm just going to put it on top there. I wanted to leave a little white space even in between, but I don't have enough space. Trying to not put my head in the middle, in the way. Not sure you can see the green there, but it is there. And I might put a little bit here as well. I don't know. I'm going to leave a little space. This one, I'm going to put some green. I wanted to put some green here. And that's why I love these colors, because it's going to be a lighter green because I've got the yellow underneath. But I want to have a little bit more of this green. I like this green. I should say green another time. Yeah, I did it. And if I'm going out of the line, I can always use a little bit of acetone and go there. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad, and I think it really looked nice. I'm going to go back with this one here. I really like the way it looks. So each and every one of them will look different. That's what I like, and there's even one missing. Oh no, it's there. I've got this big leaf to do as well, and put a little bit more of this color. I think it's way too light, so I will darken it up and have a more vibrant yellow. I think it's going to need it even after putting my leaf on. But look at this. They're gorgeous, and you can use different paints, acrylic, watercolors. You can use vitri, which is normally made to go on glass and non-porous surfaces, but it still works here. And you don't need to bake this one, which is great. PBO products are just magnificent. I love them all. I wish I could have all their products because they're really, really good. They're not so cheap. One little bottle like this might be like $4 to $5, I guess, depending on the country you live in. But there's quite a lot, and you don't need to use a lot over your paints. Whatever you're doing, you really don't need a lot. So there you go. I hope you like this project. It gives you some ideas to do something nice. It could be a present for a friend. It can be just for yourself. We always need coasters, and it makes you change depending on the season as well. And since it's really bright outside, I thought, hey, fall is not there yet, even though I did a video on fall. I want something that is more yeah, still sunny and beachy. I love this season. Please, if you like this video, give me some thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and subscribe, and also share on social medias. Take care and happy crafting. Bye bye.